everybody. Welcome to this week's episode of the Titletown Sports Podcast. We're recording on Monday, January 28th, so we are officially 6 days away from the Super Bowl. We're your hosts. I'm Melissa Burns.
I am Craig Stanton, and we're happy to be here. It's psyched for Super Bowl week. Let's get into it. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the show. Hi, Melissa.
Hi, Craig. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
I'm great. I'm pumped.
Happy to be here.
Yeah.
Super Bowl week.
It's finally here.
Well, it's not. But the week before the Super Bowl is finally
We've
here.
made it through that dead weekend in the schedule.
Yeah, I feel like this is the dead weekend starting now.
Dead week.
Like, I'm ready for them to play the game. Like, I've listened to a week of, like, bullshit. I've read a week of bullshit. Like, I'm ready. Let's go. Drop the puck.
Nobody has
as
any...
it were.
Nobody really has anything left to say. They're just going to kind of retread.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of the sports stations are down in Atlanta now, so they just do a lot of interviews with, like, people on Radio Row.
Random passersby.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's talk about what happened this week so we can then get into the brass tacks of the Super Bowl here.
Let's. After you.
Speaking of the Patriots, they officially landed in Atlanta for Super Bowl 53 versus the Rams. The Pats head into their week of practice and pomp and circumstance, fully healthy, with no one listed on the injury report. That's amazing. They held a farewell rally at Gillette Stadium, and just about 35,000 people showed up to see them off, which was just a huge turnout for people there. And then, whatever, the Pro Bowl happened this week.
Also the Pro Bowl happened.
Yeah, whatever.
Was I the only one that was, like, shocked by how many people went to that rally?
No, I was... like, holy shit, when I saw pictures. It was like more people there than at the inauguration.
Yeah, that overhead shot. But, like, where have they done it in the past? Because they haven't done it in the stadium.
No, they do it
but
in
it's
like
not like
that
at City Hall Plaza or anything. It's at
in
Patriot Place, right?
Yeah, it's in the plaza in front of the Patriots Hall of Fame usually.
Oh, like at the bottom of those steps or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's got to only hold, like, I don't know, 10,000, like,
Right.
depending on how far back the crowd goes in the parking lot. Yeah, it's wild.
Two-
Where's our fucking invite? I would have gone.
You would have?
I don't know.
I wouldn't
Maybe.
have gone. You couldn't have paid me to go to that.
I can't imagine they charge people, right?
No, it was free. It was
Yeah.
free to get in. You got to see the players. Like Tom Brady threw a microphone at Scott Zolak, whatever.
Didn't catch it, saw that.
No.
Anyways,
Good
whatever. All right, well, on to the hockey team. Outside of David Pastrnak, the Boston Bruins have been enjoying their 10-day All-Star break this week. Pastrnak, obviously the only All-Star to get into the team. They're going to return to action on Tuesday night at home versus the Winnipeg Jets. And they complete the week with games against the Flyers, Capitals, and Islanders. No, like, official word on Tuukka Rask, who was concussed last week in that game against the Rangers. But David Pastrnak at the All-Star game was asked about it, and he said that he texted Tuukka, and Tuukka said he's feeling good. So we have that.
Take that with what you will.
We have that piece of news.
Okay. Over to the Celtics. They had their 5-game win streak snapped by those defending champions, the Golden State Warriors, over the weekend. 115-111 was the final on that one. And it was definitely a litmus test for the C's, who actually put forth a solid effort. And, it was actually close coming down to the last couple minutes of the game. It definitely kind of fell apart in the last, minute or so of that fourth quarter. But they had a couple big comebacks. They played hard. They looked good. But again, it's just more of that, up and down from the Celtics where don't really know where to put them so far this year.
Yeah. I can't wait to hear Celtics fans pat themselves on the back for, hanging in there with the champs this week. It shows that we're one of the best teams in the league. It's like, yes, you established you're one of the best teams in the league
right.
4 years ago.
Right. And you crushed the shitty Cleveland Cavaliers and, some other no-name teams that you should have beat up on all week. So,
and on to the Red Sox. Really, the only thing that happened this week didn't have much to do with them as a team, but due to the prolonged shutdown of the federal government, the Red Sox had to reschedule their customary World Series champion White House visit from sometime in a couple weeks. It was supposed to be February 13th or 15th. Yeah, sure. And now it's going to be May 9th, which is a little strange because that will be during the season.
Yeah, I hate it.
So the 2019 Red Sox will be playing meaningful baseball games, and then they're going to have to reassemble the 2018 Red Sox, those of them that decide to go to the White House on an off day.
Right, which might not be an off day for every other team.
Yeah, right.
That their players have now gone off to. Mookie Betts also said he won't go.
Yes.
He already came out and said that.
He's out.
We should set an
Can't blame
over-under
him.
on how many players will go.
I know. Yeah, we talked about this before. It's like a little strange baseball. A lot of good old boys in that league.
Yeah, there are.
So, yeah, we'll see.
A lot of Johnny Gomes running around.
Yeah, seriously.
Anyway.
So that's basically what's happening this week. Not a whole lot other than Super Bowl hype. And if you care about All-Star games, I guess you can talk about that, but we don't.
We don't care at all about that.
All right, so Melissa.
Let's do it.
I want to start by do you have any other follow-up thoughts from the AFC Championship game, the NFC Championship? We didn't really talk much about the like PI non-call at the end of the Saints game thing. You know what's funny? I saw somebody like recreated that like moment in Madden.
Oh.
They like Saints Rams
Yeah.
time in the game, same like they like managed it to get to like the same down and
Jesus.
distance with like the same amount of time and ran that play and
Yeah.
like controlled the one guy to like knock the shit out of the other dude.
Pass interference.
Flag. It was pretty awesome. Anyway, so I don't know. One thing I want to get your thoughts on is there's been a whole bunch of like bullshit this past week about like the Saints coaches, players, management, ownership talking to various NFL league brass about
Sure.
like what happened. Basically, the NFL is like, yeah, we fucked up. Sorry.
Right. It happens.
And then there's something that's going to be discussed in the offseason with like the rules committee, whatever, about
Yeah.
whether or not that is going to be a challengeable play. We talked a little bit about this last week,
Yeah.
but what do you think?
Well, so I mean, I guess in terms of what happened in that Saints game, the problem would be, can you review a non-call? Because the flag wasn't thrown.
Right.
So even if that had been
The penalty flag, that is, not the challenge flag.
Yeah. Right. The yellow flag wasn't thrown. So even if that had been a rule, like that PI was challengeable by the coach, can you challenge
Right.
when there's not a call on the play? And I think that would be really hard to do. Like, how would you regulate that? People would be throwing the flag and being like, I think this happened. It's like, okay. Like,
Yeah.
at what point do you then like draw the line? And I guess, you have a limit to the number of challenges. So I guess that inherently like slows that down.
Mhm.
You'd have to be really sure. It would have to be a pretty egregious miss. But, I don't know if it's the right thing or not. I kind of think all plays should be reviewable, like, or challengeable. Like, I'm the coach. I should get to decide what I think is the turning point in the game. There has to be a call for me to challenge.
Yeah. I'm generally a fan of they're your challenges.
Right.
Like
Use
if I
them
was
as you see
rewriting the
fit.
rules, I would say they're your challenges, use them as you see fit. But you have to be specific about, so if you're challenging a play because you think there should have been a penalty, you can't just say, rewatch that play on replay in
Yeah.
slow-mo and just look at every player and make sure nobody committed a foul.
Yeah,
You'd have to
exactly.
say like this player on this player, this specific penalty. So you
Yeah,
as
yeah.
the coach would have to be like, I think that number 28 committed a pass interference or penalty against number 18. Like, look at that.
Yep.
I also think though that if you're gonna like open it up to that, you'd have to do two things. One would be, I don't think the consequences of losing the challenge, if you're going to open up the amount of things you can challenge, because like think about this, on any given fucking like long play, right? If you're a coach, you're like, fuck, that sucked. Might as well throw my challenge flag
Right.
to see if there was a hold,
Right.
or something, right? You can have a coach basically watch the offensive line on every single play to let them know if there's a hold. You can
There's
say, yeah,
always a
70,
hold.
75 might have held. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Whatever. So I think you'd have to make the consequence of being wrong steeper. Like, fuck it. If someone throws like a 70-yard touchdown bomb and there's 7 points on the board and I have to like risk losing a timeout to get that touchdown erased by like throwing a challenge on some poor offensive lineman, fat guy, like that's a pretty worthwhile risk.
Yeah, yeah.
But like, I don't
High
know,
reward.
you could do something with like down and distance or whatever. Like maybe you like, I don't know, lose yardage off your next starting point on the field. Like, I'm not going to get into like all the myriad
Yeah.
ways you could like punish a coach for being wrong, but like losing the one timeout to me doesn't feel like steep enough if you're going to open up the different permutations of what you can challenge.
Well, I think they also have to be careful because you still only get 2 challenges and then a third if you're right on both. Like, I would just keep that.
Yeah, you keep your challenge if you're correct, right?
You keep, if you're right, so you get 2 challenges to start, and then my understanding is if you're right, you get a third one.
Oh,
But
so
you
can
don't have
only-
unlimited.
Right, you can only do 3 total in
Yeah.
best case scenario. Gotcha.
So when I think that helps, because now if I'm the coach, I'm like, do I want to risk it here? Like, what if there's something more egregious? later on. I guess in the last 2 minutes, though, if I hadn't used any, I'd be like, fuck it.
Yeah. But then again, like the egregious, you bring up the word egregious, like that would be the other thing too, is like, I think the standard for overturning stuff like that, particularly with penalties, would have to be like really
high.
stiff.
Yeah.
Right. Like, so like you could even say like no holds or something like that. You could
Yeah.
like write that in. Like, that's
Right.
fine. Like, you can't challenge holding. Like, that's whatever. Like that, because that's just one of
it
those things
happens
that
on
happens
every
in every
play.
play. But I generally like, I'm okay with the idea of like you can challenge anything at any time. It's your fucking challenges.
Yeah. That's how I think it should be, too.
Like if somebody fucked up, you should be able to say,
Right.
you fucked up. Like, that's wrong.
Right. And that's
Right?
fine. Like, you're a person, people make mistakes, but like, I can see what you did wrong. Why can't we fix it now in the moment?
Like you built in that mechanism
Right.
via the challenge flag. It's like, seems weird that it would be limited that you can't challenge certain shit.
What about the idea of like there being someone like in New York or up in the booth that is kind of watching for those things and like calls down? So it's not even a challenge by the coach. It's almost like a challenge by the NFL directly that says like, hey, hold on, you missed something. Like we got to call it back.
Yeah. I generally am a fan of that idea of like eye in the sky type of thing. Cause like, honestly, like the refs on the field, like they're fucking retirees watching like split second lightning fast actions
Right.
transpire
They're also
and trying to
trying not to get
dissect them
run
in real
over.
time. Yeah. Right. So I like the eye in the sky thing, but I don't like the eye in the sky to throw flags. I don't
Okay.
know. Like, I just feel like you would be like, I fucking hate anytime that there's a flag like away from the ball. Like,
Yeah.
I think that always like that. One of those JC Jackson pass interferences from the AFC Championship game was like, you know, Pat Mahomes takes the snap. He's looking right. He throws right, and it was incomplete. Meanwhile, way off to his left at a receiver he wasn't even fucking looking at, he got like washed out by JC Jackson, and like there's a flag where it's like, come on, really?
Right.
Fuck.
It has nothing to do with the play.
So I think if you put an eye in the sky, like you'd get a lot more of that stuff.
Yeah.
Which I don't like.
You'd get more calls.
But I think for the review, like that head official on the field, like trotting over to the little booth
so
is
stupid.
stupid. So like, yeah,
Right.
you want to fucking call to
Right.
New York for that? That's great.
Right. Yeah. Why can't you just have like a body of people in New York? I guess because it's like nameless, faceless, but like,
Who cares?
so is the ref on the field. Like,
Yeah,
what am I
yeah,
going to
I
do to
don't
that
give a shit
guy?
about
He's
that guy.
neutral.
Any follow-up thoughts from the AFC side?
Nothing that stood out to me. Like, I'm just excited that the Patriots are heading to the Super Bowl healthy. I think it's been a long time since that's happened.
Yeah,
and so the
for
fact
sure.
that they came out of that tough game against Kansas City and like were, maintained health and are like ready to go. I think they are more pumped than we've ever seen them. Well, than we've seen them in a long time heading into a Super Bowl.
Yeah, you've noticed that too then? So
Yeah.
like I feel like I've definitely noticed more sort of like jubilation on the part of the Patriots, like really starting from like the second they won the game last week. Brady taking the helmet off, jumping around the field. He was like swearing his ass off in the post-game interview. Like,
I know, I liked it.
Those are hard to find now because they've probably been like scrubbed from the fucking archives
Yeah.
on like NBC, CBS or whatever. But like he's like swearing up and down, like doing all this crazy ass shit. Like there was definitely a vibe of like, holy crap. Which is sort of interesting because like the Patriots are obviously perennial like
Right.
Super Bowl
It's not a
contenders,
first
if
time.
not favorites.
Right.
Like so it was definitely interesting to hear them and watch them react in sort of that like, who'da thunk it? Here we are in the Super
These
Bowl.
major underdogs coming through. They're acting like it's 2001 again.
I know.
Like where they had no chance of going. And it's interesting because it's starting to have an impact on the fans too. Like the fact that 35,000 people showed up for a rally for the Patriots to go to their ninth
In third in a row.
Super Bowl
Yeah.
and third in a row is like, ho hum. Like, of course we've been to the Super Bowl. We always go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Like, no. I think they're like, yeah, fuck everybody. Attitude is rubbing off on everybody.
Yeah. Oh,
else.
I totally agree.
They're like
and I
creating
mean,
their own hype.
yeah. I mean, I think it's gonna. I mean, I would hope that it serves them well.
Yeah.
I mean, they definitely were underdogs in the Kansas City game. They didn't have a good road record this year. The Kansas City was a better team,
Sure.
wire to wire. Like, so it's like it makes sense that they would be like hype after that game. But it's like you're still the Patriots, boys.
Right.
Like you're basically favored every day
In every game.
You know.
But, and so, like, I heard some stat out of Vegas that something like 80% of the money is coming in on the Patriots.
Wow.
Like,
And they're favored in the game, right?
they're favored in the game. Yeah. But, like, people are just like, oh, fuck. Oh, forget it. Patriots.
Yeah.
I'll take the Patriots.
But I definitely, I'm enjoying the vibe for sure.
Yeah,
because
it's
it's
different.
definitely different. It's not like the like business trip, like
Yeah.
we just
know
gotta
we've
like take care
been
of
here
business
before.
thing. Yeah.
We know what we're doing. And I think last year against the Eagles, maybe they underestimated the Nick Foles, led Eagles at that time. And, maybe that made them change their mentality a little bit and they are taking it a little more.
Yeah, that
Seriously.
part I would hope so. Kyle Van Noy was interviewed this week. You may have heard it. he had some like interesting comments about like the vibe versus last year. And he basically was like, yeah, last year we were humbled. Like he used the term humbled, and he was like, yeah, we expected to win that game and we didn't win that game. And like we were back this year and trying to fucking atone for that, which is not unusual to hear from any player on any team in any sport in any league that is back in the championship game after losing the previous year's championship game.
Yeah.
But like as a Patriot, to talk about last year's Super Bowl before this year's Super Bowl, like that's like
we don't do that.
Unheard of.
Yeah.
It makes sense. Like, yeah.
You should be thinking about that.
I was thinking,
you were embarrassed.
They absolutely were. And I was thinking too, like, just in my mind's eye, like I haven't like looked at the roster, but once I heard that, I was like, who are the players? Like, who's new? And it's not that many people. It's basically like off the top of my head, I can think of Sony Michel, who obviously just got drafted, Cordero Patterson, who they signed in the offseason, Adrian Claiborne, Jason McCourty. Other than that, like the entire offense is the same.
That are like real everyday
yeah,
starters.
that are like impactful
People
players,
you would know.
but like I can't think of a linebacker or a safety or a corner that's new, other than McCourty or some like and JC Jackson, whatever. But like the point is that the vast majority of the team and the coaching staff like did a meaningful coach leave between last year. Patricia, right? Of course, big one. Big one. But
how quickly we forgot though, because Brian Flores' defense
is sick.
It's
so much more fun to watch. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, basically, this is the same fucking team. Like, pretty much. With like, obviously, like year to year, there's going to be changes, but like, I just found it fascinating that he like said that. I'm glad to hear it. Like, it's good.
Right.
Yes, this should be. Much in the same way that the Atlanta 28-3 Super Bowl was a fuck you for suspending Tom Brady for like taking a half a PSI out of a football.
Yeah.
Like, that was part of that team's mentality, and last year Super Bowl 52 against the Eagles should totally be a part of this team's mentality. I think that's fucking great.
Should be. I 100% agree, and they shouldn't be taking it for granted. And they should be like, we overcame odds this year. Like they didn't just roll teams, and so I think
definitely not.
They actually faced adversity this year, which isn't something that they're used to, and I think it's a good thing for them. It probably brought them together more as a team and made them appreciate where they're at.
Yeah.
A little bit more.
Something that's been fascinating me all week is just like how small the margins are in these games.
Yeah.
Where like I've been thinking about that D Ford offsides play like over and over again.
So has D Ford.
Like, and like, so just again, for anybody that like hasn't like gone back and rewatched or whatever, but like this was the Brady drive with 2 minutes left in the fourth quarter. They're down by 3. They obviously march down the field and score a touchdown, which then led to the Kansas City field goal, which led to overtime, blah, blah, blah. But this is in that fourth quarter drive where they're down, 2 minutes left. And on a 3rd and 10, Brady throws a ball to Rob Gronkowski that pops off his hands, goes basically straight up in the air, and it's an interception going the other way. Like, had that, so like, let's just live in a world first in a second where D Ford lines up 6 inches back from where he actually lined up.
Yeah.
Like, what are we talking about? Like, we're talking about Brady throws 3 interceptions in an AFC Championship game. They still can't win on the road.
Their defense let them come back.
Their defense let Kansas City back into the game.
Gronk couldn't make a play when he needed to.
That's the biggest one. Like, a lot of people, myself included, are sort of thinking that this might be Gronk's last year. Like, imagine if that was the last play of Rob Gronkowski's football career.
Yeah, we would be talking about him not being a Hall of Famer.
Right. And like the whole like narrative around the team, like, like, it's the type of things that people say every year, and eventually they'll be right. Like, the dynasty's over and Brady's over the hill and blah, 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 blah. Like, but like, what's fascinating to me is that effectively it did happen. Like it happened. It just didn't count. You know what I mean? Like the game ended right there. Like we died. It happened.
Best player on the field that day, D Ford.
And then the flag goes up and it's all erased. And it's just like crazy to me how the difference in like the timelines, as it were, to use like a sci-fi term, in like the one reality where D Ford backs up, it's over. The dynasty's crumbling, Rome is burning, it's over. We're fucked.
Right. Kansas City is the new elite of the AFC.
Yes, exactly. Sean McVay is the new Bill Belichick. Pat Mahomes is the new Tom Brady. Like, out with the old, in with the new. And then over here in this timeline that we fortunately are living in,
thank God,
it's still here, not over. Go fuck yourself. Back in the Super Bowl, 3 in a row, 4 out of the last 5. Fuck you. Like, oh my God, it's crazy to me. It's just crazy how like I told you last week, like so on the following play was that like Gronk play down the sideline when he caught it over Eric Berry's head. Like I couldn't enjoy that play until like 5 minutes later
because it was so stressful.
I was still recovering from the fact that I had just seen like the season end.
Oh, the game ended. Yeah, we all felt the same way watching that happen. You see that ball bounce off Gronk's hands, land beautifully into that. I don't even know who intercepted it. Some guy.
I don't know.
And you're just like, no. It was like a head in hands, like, oh, it's true.
Yeah, I like
Brady's
shattered into
old.
glass.
Yeah. Patriots Nation everywhere just like crumbled in their
brutal.
seats. And then the glory
damn.
of that flag.
It's crazy. And
I bet in Kansas City they are still complaining about that flag, but it was a pretty obvious call. Like it wasn't.
I don't think they're complaining about that. They're complaining about flags probably generally, but that one, I mean, thankfully, thank God. Imagine, here's another thing I've been thinking about this week. Too much time on my hands. There's
get this guy some work.
Just think about the fucking outrage that the whole country would be experiencing if the outcome of the Saints game, the ref, the non-call, happened in the Patriots game. Like imagine if that, let's put it this way, if the penalty that called that interception play back was not an objective, he's clearly offsides, and the ref actually, to his credit, threw the flag well before the interception, before the ball was even thrown. As soon as the ball was snapped, you just threw it. But like, thank God, for the sake of Patriots fans everywhere, that was like an objective penalty that like,
you can see it wasn't a PI.
If it was a late flag for a PI or something like that.
Or if it was that like
any sort of controversy at all.
You know the play they're talking about is the
roughing the passer?
Yeah, thank you. I couldn't think of the roughing the passer. The like phantom.
Yeah, which was it was a bad call.
But you're a star quarterback in the league, right? Like you're going to get the benefit of the doubt and get the call. So if you can sell it a little bit and like whip your head back as that guy's hand comes near you. I don't know why I just did that to demonstrate it for you.
Whipping of the hand back? Head back?
It helped. Like you're going to get the call since you're fucking Tom Brady.
I mean, they're going to complain about what they're going to complain about. Like that's fine. But, oh man, just I've been fascinated by like, the
what if,
the divergent timelines of like what if D4 just backed up. Like that's like crazy. That's like some like Back to the Future, like get out the almanac type shit.
The best thing that I heard this week was some of the mic'd up audio that came out after, and D Ford,
yes.
Poor D Ford, you hear him go over to the sideline. They said I was offsides. Was I offsides? And someone just hands him the tablet, and it's like, oh, poor bud. Like I felt kind of bad listening.
Yeah.
Was I really? Like,
was I? Yeah, that's pretty good.
And it's like, yeah, dude, you are.
I don't know. That's just those are my follow up thoughts from last week, but that's basically all I got for that. So let's talk about the game upcoming.
Yeah, I'm excited.
What do you think? Are you nervous? Are you scared? Are you optimistic? Are you pessimistic? Who are you picking in the game?
I'm picking
our last episode for the Super Bowl.
Oh my God.
Feels far away now, but we're not going to be able to get on the podcast before
we don't have enough to talk about.
This shit's settled.
I feel optimistic. I feel cautiously optimistic. I like their chances heading in. I got money on the Patriots. I'll take it.
Yeah. I mean, cautiously optimistic. I feel the same way. I've been basically terrified going into every week, and it's worked out so far. I was terrified of the Chargers. I was terrified of the Chiefs.
Me too. We all were. I picked the Patriots to win in both those games, but I was like, I guess. But only because I felt like I couldn't pick against their history in some ways. And I just feel like the same way the Patriots feel about last year's Super Bowl, I also feel that internally too.
Oh, God.
I was too optimistic going into that Super Bowl. And it was
you mean then? I thought you meant now.
No. Like, they were so confident. We were all so confident. Like, come on, fucking Eagles. What are you kidding me? And then when they won, it was so like...
Well, in fairness to us, we had thought that all of our best defensive players were going to play in the game. But I digress.
Oh, no. Don't go back.
So I've got a few reasons to be optimistic and a few reasons to be nervous. Where do you think we should start?
Nervous. We'll end on a positive note.
All right. Start with the negativity.
Yeah.
I think that and this is sort of a similar thing to the Chiefs a little bit, but like I do think that the diversity of weapons that the Rams offense has is like a little scary. Like, but they don't, the Patriots are really good at dealing with offenses that have like one, no doubt about it, like home run hitter on their offense. And they're good about, they actually do it on defense too, but they're good about like picking someone and neutralizing them and saying, okay,
you know who to put Gilmore
other team,
on, basically.
You have to, beat us with your second best option because we're taking away Tyreek Hill last week, or we're taking away Keenan Allen 2 weeks ago, or, fucking Antonio Brown or whoever the fuck it might be.
Yeah.
But, I mean, the Rams don't really have that. I mean, they have Todd Gurley, who's obviously a huge star, but you can't really take the running back out of the game.
Well,
he's also a little banged up.
Well, so here's what's weird about that. He's not on the injury report, but he clearly didn't play in the second half of the game against the Saints.
Right.
So something was going on.
Same can be said about Sony Michel.
True.
But yeah, something is definitely going on with Todd Gurley. I mean, they picked up CJ Anderson. He's been getting like the majority of the workload.
Right.
So I just, from a defensive standpoint, like I have some reservations about that. That's very similar to the Eagles last year, where it's like they do spread the ball around. They don't rely too much on the out of his fucking boobs performance of like one individual talent. Like that is tough, right. I think.
Well, yeah, it certainly gives you more to think about from a defensive scheme. I think they can kind of eliminate the running game, though, with, good defensive line play.
They have been,
and they've been good at kind of slowing that down. They haven't necessarily faced a run-heavy offense in the playoffs yet. But, like, I think that they can mitigate that with some, like, solid... blocking of
just committing to it and going for it.
Just knowing it's going to happen and saying like, so maybe you don't rush the passer as often because you need to be watching for the run. I also
can also mitigate the run by getting a lead.
Yeah.
Make them play from behind.
That's a good point too. I also heard an interesting theory about how the defense could respond to this offense in that, Jared Goff is not calling a play from the line. Like, he does not have the Peyton Manning, Tom Brady ability to read the defense and react accordingly.
The head coach, Sean McVay, in his ear,
telling him what to do. So, the Patriots could wait until the 15-second mark on the play clock where the headphones turn off.
And just for the people that are listening that may not know, so you have 25 seconds to the play clock is 25 seconds on any given play in the NFL. The coach and quarterback can communicate via like microphones and radios in their helmets for the first 15 seconds, but then it shuts off.
I think so. Sean McVay,
10. I think it's 15.
Okay.
Sean McVay can be chatting in Jared Goff's ear for 15 seconds, but then it shuts off, and for the final 10 seconds, Jared Goff is on his own.
Right. So the Patriots could re-scheme their defense. I mean, that would
just be very like amoeba-ish.
Yeah, and do that. I mean, we saw it a little bit 2 weeks ago, I think, where they did that defense where they don't kind of line up.
The bus stop defense, where they're all just kind of standing around. And they either like rush forward and blitz, or they drop back to pass, but it's impossible to know based on their posture or positioning because they're just kind of fucking standing there.
Yeah, which is like the ballsiest looking defense
of all
time.
Yeah, they're just looming. It's great.
Like, we're coming at you one way or another, but you don't know what it is.
Yeah.
And that could really...
That's like the Kyle Van Noy special. He'll like mill around, snap. The ball will snap and he'll hang. He'll take like one step backwards and then just charge forward.
Right.
And it's been
knock
like
people
awesome.
down. And you have momentum on your side when you're going that way too. So
he's
when you
great
hit
at
the
the
line, you're like powering through
totally.
that offensive line. So, that's another way that they could...
Yeah, the 15-second thing.
Rhythm.
I'm fascinated by that 15-second thing. I'm really curious to see
someone
what they
like
do
Bill
there.
Belichick to see how they use it. On the other side, though, like Sean McVay could be smart and make sure you snap the ball quick, right? Like go quick.
The other side of that argument is like there's no obligation to let the play clock run down. You can just snap it at 15 seconds. So we'll see about that.
But if they're just like doing that mill around, like non-committal defense, that could really fuck up Jared Goff and then the running game, because he's going to be unsure.
Yeah, if you don't know where to go with the ball.
Right.
Totally.
The running back doesn't know where to go, where the hole's going to be.
So that's a optimistic reason to think that we might.
I'm sorry,
be
I said
okay.
to start negative. And
no, it's okay.
Like, let me counterpoint your negativity.
I actually have more optimistic thoughts than I do negative ones. My other negative one is a little bit of like an overarching take. Is just that like the Patriots, and I don't really like comparing them to like previous versions of themselves. We're at a point now with this Patriots dynasty that there's just so much data.
Yeah.
That we are almost like we can't help ourselves but compare them to previous versions of themselves, because there's just so much stuff. There's been the same coach, same quarterback for fucking 20 years almost. So like it's hard to like prevent yourself from doing that. But anyways, the Patriots have never been like, oh, just wait till the postseason and like flip a switch. Like I've heard the flip a switch term a lot over the last couple weeks.
Yeah.
And they've just never been a flip switch. They've never been flip switchers. Switch flippers. Fuck.
It's really hard to say.
They've never been switch flippers. They've always, in their best years where they've won it all, they've generally, I don't care about the division titles because they're obviously going to win the division because the division sucks. But they've just been playing really well pretty much all through December, pretty much all through January.
Right.
We talked a few weeks ago about those like December at home stats, whatever. And like this year, they lose to Miami, they lose to Pittsburgh, they lose Josh Gordon. And it was sort of like they're kind of waffling there.
Mm-hmm.
They had two really good games at the end of the regular season against the Jets and the Bills, neither of whom had anything to play for, but they looked really good in those games. So it was like, okay, is this a switch being flipped? I don't know. And they obviously blow doors against the Chargers and look really good. Enough to win anyways against the Chiefs. So it's like I guess my fear is that like, do they turn back into a pumpkin in the Super Bowl?
Yeah. Who
because
shows up?
the reason I'm still terrified week in, week out is because they haven't until very recently demonstrated the ability to like look like a dominant team or play and execute like a dominant team. Like, I don't know. I just don't trust the switch flipping.
Yeah. You're nervous. No, switch flipping. You're right. Yeah, I mean, I think you're right. Like, I think that's why we're cautiously optimistic, right? Because you don't forget what they looked like in those games against good teams earlier in December. Like, we're not even talking about September games here. We're not talking about.
Oh, yeah. Right.
Like, we're talking about
in the last 6 weeks
games,
right? Which
is not normally something that we have to like reflect on so close to this time of year and be like, well, who's going to show up again?
Yeah. And I'm not saying that they can't be switch flippers, but like, I've just never seen it. Like, we've seen it in like the NBA, for example, right? Like LeBron James will literally tell the press, he's like, I don't care about the regular season. Right. Only the playoffs matter. So what if we're the 3 seed? I'll see you in the finals. And he's right. So like, if this was that, I'd be like, yeah, I don't give a shit because he's demonstrated the ability to just turn it on in the playoffs. And like, that's fine.
7 games to do it. The Patriots have 1.
Exactly. So like, I'm not saying they're not capable of it. It's just it's never been who they are.
Yeah.
And it appears to be now where they were kind of an okay team, benefiting from playing in a soft division and like didn't really look great down the stretch until those last 2 games against meaningless opponents. And then like, bang, here we are divisional round. And that was like the best I've seen them look versus the Chargers. Best I've seen them look since the second half of the Atlanta Super Bowl. At least that was my original takeaway. I haven't really given that much more thought, but anyways, I don't know. The switch flipping makes me nervous.
Yeah, I don't really have a counterpoint to that. I think that is the reason to be nervous about this game. Is like, who's going to show up on the field? And, do they have the ability to play great for 3 games in a row against, high quality opponents?
Fuck yeah.
Like, we didn't see that all year. So,
this
like,
ain't
I don't
the
know.
Fucking Bills in week 17.
Right.
All right, you want to talk optimism?
I do.
Go ahead.
Well, I know. I think the thing I'm the most optimistic about is the way that they've managed to kind of scheme and game plan differently this year than they have in the past. Like they have, I feel like for the first time in a few years, they've actually been playing a more well-rounded version of football. You look at the way the running game's getting involved. Sure. You look at the way their pass game is still strong. I think in that first drive in the Kansas City game, it was like 50-50 pass versus run.
Totally.
And so I just think that keeps kind of defenses on their toes, and I think it really shows like how they've evolved and how they've become more dynamic. And it doesn't need to just be the Tom Brady show to prove that he's the best.
Right.
Like you can win in many different ways. And this is a solid way that you're going to be able to like, get points on the board, run clock down, have a good first half. Yeah.
It's also nice to be able to say, what's the most glaring weakness on this Patriots team? I'm not saying they don't have any,
the kicker,
but the answer is not obvious. We'll get to him. You know what I mean? Like where like in previous years, you've been like, the defense. Can I say the defense? Is the answer the defense?
Yeah. I know.
Teacher? Yeah. Like it's definitely the defense. Yeah. They can't cover. They're fucked. Julian Edelman plays cornerback. Like, so like there's been times where that's been the situation and like they can run. They can pass. They can defend. They can rush the passer.
Right, yeah.
They can do it. Like they're a good team that can do these things.
Yeah. Short pass, long pass. Like we saw Brady in that Kansas City game, like, dinking and dunking a little to the line, but then we also saw him like nailing 3rd and 10s, just cruising down the field.
Totally.
And that's like, you just have so many options and so many weapons at your disposal that, you don't feel like anything is insurmountable.
Yeah. For sure.
You don't look at that 3rd and 10 and think like, fuck, we're turning the ball over.
Another reason I have to feel good is Robert Gronkowski. I feel like all I ever say about Rob Gronkowski is keep him healthy, put him on ice, put him in bubble wrap, make it, like survive. And like, I actually think they did that this year. I mean, you can theorize all you want about like, why is it that Gronk had the year that he had, which is basically the worst year statistically since his rookie season.
Yeah.
And maybe he was hurt, or maybe he was out of it. Maybe he was pissed about contract. Who the fuck knows? I don't know. But what I do know is that they managed to keep him relatively healthy. And like now, this is the dream scenario. One game, 60 minutes of football, where like this is like the first time I've ever like said these words and meant it. It's like unleash Gronk, like empty the bucket, empty the bucket with Gronk. Everything you've got, send him on as many suicide slants across the middle of the field where some defender's going to try to take his head off. Like this is the game where you do that shit. And you fucking let it roll.
Wow, you give
and
no
if he
fucks.
dies, he dies.
Oh
like
God.
whatever happens.
Oh my God.
No, obviously I don't want him to die. But like
No.
So much of what we've been conditioned to root for with Rob Gronkowski is conservative and like
Right. Don't get hurt.
concerned about his longevity and his health first and his performance on the field second. But it's like, here we are. This is it. This is the dream. This is the one game where you can fucking let him run wild.
Yeah. And
I think he will.
Well, and I think it is a smart play if they do it too, because do you think that the Rams defense is prepared for Gronk to be unleashed based on the way the year's gone? Like, probably not. They would have to make some adjustments.
Yeah, I mean, they're silly if they don't take seriously the possibility that he could run wild. But you're right.
Serious and scheme against it can be two very different things.
For sure.
So yeah, I mean, you could see an opening drive that's just Brady to Gronk down the field, the whole thing, and the Rams just like, fuck.
And you saw it in the Chiefs game, like down the stretch. Like I was yelling at my television for a variety of reasons, but one of the reasons was like, why? Like they converted like 1,000 third and longs in that game, which is generally not a great way to live.
No,
particularly on the road,
not a happy place.
And like that's just not how you draw it up. And I was furious with like the play calling on first and second down because there was a lot of Cordero Patterson, there was a lot of Rex Burkhead, and I was like yelling at like, do you see the difference when you use your star players? Like, do you see the difference between throwing the ball to Julian Edelman versus throwing the ball to Cordero Patterson? Like, it's the difference between a completed pass for a first down and a drop. Like, come on. So like, I don't know. I got so worked up there. I forget what my point was, but like, I think there was a visible difference in the end of that game in crunch time between getting the ball to Gronk and Edelman versus getting the ball to literally anybody else. Like, so these are your guys. Like, those are your centerpieces. You've got two like just massive pillars of your offense there with Brady and the ball in his hands. Like, and I think that is a reason that I feel good about this game. Like, those two guys like are fucking presumably dialed in and healthy and like ready to fucking blast some asses. Yeah,
I think it will be a very different game, hopefully, than last year. I would love for it to just be a blowout.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want a 28-3 comeback. I didn't like that.
No,
it's not good for my heart.
No.
I don't want them to lose like last year. I just want
also bad.
them to get up, stay up. We can just enjoy the night.
Yeah, well, that's what I was saying last year too. I was like, of all these Super Bowls that we've been to, there's never been one that's just like a walkover, win or lose. They're all, every single one have come down to the last play of the game.
And you're like, no. I mean, I guess that is what you anticipate happening in a Super Bowl, right? Like, theoretically, you have the two best teams playing. It should be a close game.
Yeah.
One of them shouldn't just
But sometimes it's not,
the other
just not
team.
when the Patriots are involved.
Yeah, the fucking Patriots like have to make it interesting.
I mean, when Peyton Manning won the last one, Super Bowl 50, like it was against the Panthers, like they fucking blew them out. Like it wasn't close. The year that the Seahawks beat the Broncos, like they blew them out too. Like it was
I want one of those. I want a blowout.
Non-competitive Super Bowls are like not that uncommon. Just for Patriots fans, every single one is a fucking heart attack.
I just want to be able to sit on my couch, eat some buffalo chicken dip, maybe a piece of pizza, and like
just chill in the second half, like the Chargers game,
and just enjoy the ride and get ready for the confetti to fall. That's all I fucking want. Is that too much to ask?
It'd be nice. It would be nice. I don't think you're gonna get it, but it would be nice. So one more question for you.
Yes.
Regarding the Rams and the Patriots, but we're gonna pick later on.
Oh, okay.
Do you put any, like, how do you feel about the whole, like, the fact that it's the Rams and like in 01 it was the Rams and now it's the Rams again? Do you like give a shit about that at all? Do you think they give a shit about that at all? Is that like a story whatsoever?
It would be more of a story if Tom Brady had come out and said he was going to retire this year. Like if this was it for Brady, he was going to retire, and his first Super Bowl would have been against the Rams, and his last Super Bowl would have been against the Rams. I don't think it really matters. They've like switched cities. It's been 18 years. Like it's
I agree with that.
Yeah.
I've been hearing a little bit of that throughout the week about like just like the I don't know like the
full circleness.
I guess
but
yeah.
But that's why
it
would be if he was retiring, but he's gonna keep playing. So he has said
right, and it's literally different city, different ownership. Obviously different players,
Completely
different coaches.
different team.
Literally the entire team wholesale has changed
Right.
in every way imaginable, except for like their uniforms, which did change.
Oh,
but
but they're wearing their throwback.
Right, there you go, the throwback.
Yeah,
so like,
which is
I
weird.
don't think there's any sort of bookendiness to it whatsoever.
No. I think
honestly.
more interesting is like the look at our McVay and Goff, the new Brady Belichick.
But see, that's what
And
they say about every. That's what they said last week.
I know,
is
but-
Reed and fucking Mahomes.
But
or whatever.
are you seeing like a new era? Like if they win, is that then the conversation?
yeah.
If the Rams win,
I think if the Rams win, much like the Super Bowl hype that you've seen so far,
Mm-hmm.
I think if the Rams win, it will be less about Jared Goff and more about Sean McVay.
Oh yeah, people fucking are obsessed with him.
Yeah, people are fucking all in on that dude, and I mean, he's a good coach, sure. Like he's a good coach, and he's coached this team to, last year they lost in the divisional round, I think, and that was his first year there, and now they're in the Super Bowl. So like, good for him. He's he's doing his job,
Right.
But yeah, I don't put any stock in that thing. Another LA question. So obviously the NFL has bet big time on the city of Los Angeles as a football market, moving 2 of their franchises there.
Yeah, they're not interested.
Do you think that like basically do you think that's gonna work out for the Rams? And obviously the Super Bowl helps. Can't imagine it hurts, but like, do you think that like long term, like they will actually like take root in LA and it'll be like any other NFL franchise, which is a rabid fan base of dedicated followers,
The Rams, yes. I think they have a chance. They've been good. They're young. They're exciting to watch. I think they have a chance to really like take hold. And
Yeah.
they used to play in LA, correct?
So did the Chargers though.
Yeah.
Different degrees of way back in the day. More recently, the Rams were there.
Yeah. And so I think they have a chance. I don't think the Chargers have a chance.
Yeah, I think I agree. And I think the Super Bowl is going to be huge, to help
Yeah.
them, even if they lose. Like similar to like the fucking Vegas Golden Knights last year. Like first year of existence, there's a terrible track record of like expansion hockey teams in southern U.S. markets, like
Yeah.
gaining traction in their in their markets and their fan bases. But like, boom, this team's shot out of a cannon. There's a horrible tragic event that also happens to happen in the city of
terrible,
Las
but-
Vegas at the
right.
same time. So like that's like a galvanizing thing. And then like look, next thing you know, they're in the Stanley Cup Finals. Like I think that there's a whole shitload of people that never would have thought like 2 years ago that they would give a shit about hockey who
Right.
are now like fucking
Fans.
Golden Knights fans
Yeah.
forever.
Right.
Like that's the kind of thing that like
Well,
gets you.
Yeah, that's the thing. One good year can like
Totally.
you win a younger generation over. And I feel like LA is probably a great place to go see a football game. Like, I don't know about the stadium itself, but
Yeah.
I mean, like, from a weather perspective, if they can get somewhere that they have like room for tailgating, like, you could be outside
fuck
every
yeah.
game.
Yeah, I mean that's half the reason why they fucking put them there.
Right.
Presumably. All right. So we got a call this week.
Great.
Little offbeat from the Super Bowl, but I think it's a relevant topic of discussion.
Okay.
Would you like to hear it?
I would.
Hi, it's Bill George from the Should I Go See It podcast. Obviously, with the overtime rules being what they were, the Patriots, we won by scoring a touchdown on the first drive. But I know Kansas City fans are disappointed that Mahomes never even got on the field. And I'm sure if the coin toss went the other way and it happened in reverse, we'd probably be upset that Brady never got a shot. I think that the NFL should look at its overtime rules again to consider either having both teams possess the ball regardless, or maybe just playing the additional 15-minute overtime in its entirety as if it's just an additional quarter of play. Or do you think the defense just needs to step up and do their job? Thanks.
So we probably should have talked about this when we were still talking about the AFC Championship game, but whatever. Let's go back. So NFL overtime rules are you flip the coin, first team that gets the ball. If they kick a field goal, the other team gets to have a
Right,
chance
yeah.
on offense. But if you score a touchdown, it's sudden death.
Right.
Any context that a touchdown is scored, the game ends at that moment. In 2010, they made it so that the field goal on the opening possession does not win the game.
Right.
Prior to that, it was flip a coin, first team that gets it. If they were able to, it was first score wins, period.
Right.
Any permutation of scoring points. They made it so that the only context where it's not sudden death is the opening possession. If you kick a field goal, the next team gets to possess
They
the
get
ball.
one possession.
But the big criticism is anytime that a team fucking wins the coin flip and then wins the game, and then like the star quarterback never gets a chance to put the ball in his hands. It's happened to Aaron Rodgers a bunch. Obviously, it happened to Pat Mahomes recently. So that's like the thing that people complain about when that does happen. Fortunately, Patriots fans in the playoffs, we are 3-0 in coin flips.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Good
we've been
stat.
to 3 overtimes. One was the Snow Bowl, one was the Atlanta Super Bowl, and one was the AFC Championship game last week. And we are lights out in the coin flip. And we've never, I mean, credit to the fucking Pats for fucking ending it right there. No
Right.
bullshit. Like they've scored on all those opening drives, and it was groovy.
Yeah.
So what do you think? Do they change it? Should they make it so that both teams get the opportunity to possess the ball?
No. I like the way it is. Fuck it. You should have won it in regulation. Like, you had an opportunity. You both had 60 minutes to do it. I get the idea that like a coin flip is just a random, whatever, but then have your defense win.
Yeah.
The Saints won the coin flip in their game and they didn't win, right?
For sure,
Because
yeah.
Breeze threw an interception and the Rams ended up scoring. So you have a chance. You both have an equal chance. Both sides of your team need to be able to perform in that sudden death format.
Yeah, and I also I generally agree with one caveat. I mean, I don't like the whole idea of like, well, what are you supposed to do? You never get a chance to touch the ball. It's like you make it sound like it's impossible to prevent a team from scoring a touchdown
Right.
on every possession. If that
You
were the
did
case,
it all
every
game.
game would be like 60-50.
Right.
If it was impossible for a team to not score a touchdown every time they possess the ball. And like you don't even need to have a lights out defense to simply prevent a touchdown.
Right.
That's all you got to do is
Right.
no touchdowns.
Right. I like the move away from like the
The
field goal
thing, yeah.
can't win it.
Because that was cheesy. All you
Right.
had to do was go from the 20 to the opposing 40,
Right.
and then boom, and it's
Right.
done. Like that was, I think that was like a really, really smart move.
the Patriots had to move the ball down the entire field. The Chiefs defense was out there presumably for the entire thing. So
Yeah.
they had an opportunity to.
Coach had 3 timeouts in his pocket.
Sure
too.
did. Didn't play any of them. Like you had an opportunity to stop them and you didn't, and they scored, and that's how it works.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, if Mahomes got the ball first and the Patriots defense couldn't stop them, I'd be like, the defense fucked up. Like they couldn't stop them when it really counted.
Yeah, yeah. My only problem is I think the NFL needs to figure out a way somehow to make the coin flip less important. Like when Slater won the coin flip the other day, I was like grateful to the point where you would have thought that we had already won the game. Like you need to make, and because the impact of getting the ball first,
Of course.
it's
It gives
huge.
you the chance.
That's massive. So like, I mean, same thing in the Super Bowl against the Falcons. I was like, oh fuck, thank God. Like that is a perfunctory thing, and it is just. I mean, it used to be the single most important play of an NFL overtime, who got the ball first with the field goal thing, and now it's less significant, but still really significant. The team that gets the ball first arbitrarily based on a flip of a fucking coin has a big time advantage to win the fucking game.
Well, how would you do it then?
So I think that they should, like, I don't want to bore people with like all these wacky fucking overtime possibilities. I think 2 things to start off. 1, keep it the way it is for regular season. I don't want to fucking be here all night.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Right.
So whatever. If you even want to make it first score wins in the regular season, who gives a shit? But in the playoffs, like hockey does this, like they have shootouts in the regular season.
Yeah.
They don't have shootouts in the
Right,
playoffs.
they
Like
just
obviously
play
the games
it. Yeah.
mean more, so you have to change the rules sometimes. So this would be a playoff only format of overtime. And overtime is really rare in the playoffs.
Yeah, that's the other thing.
It's been like strangely common in the last couple of years ever since the Atlanta. I mean that Atlanta Super Bowl was the
First Super
first
Bowl.
one to ever
Yeah.
go to fucking overtime. Anyways, so I think they should have a separate set of rule for playoff overtimes, and I do think that one, with the league becoming more and more offensive, that it's like it's a disservice to the team that happened to lose a coin flip, because again, who possesses the ball first is not based on any sort of merit. It's literally
Random.
a total 50-50 proposition.
Matthew Slater, no one to pick heads every time.
Right. And so like, I don't know. I just think that the biggest play of an NFL overtime shouldn't be the coin flip. So whether that's playing a full 10-minute period, because then there's some strategy involved, right? Like if the Patriots can take an 8-minute drive and score, like that's something, versus scoring on the first possession. Like that's, I don't know. So I think there should be some way to make it a little bit more equitable.
In the playoffs.
Yeah. Just so that fucking coin flip isn't like a massive, meaningful moment. You could also do one thing that I heard is just have the opening game coin flip determine. So if you choose to defer on the opening kickoff, you're also choosing to defer in overtime.
Oh boy.
I think that would be really interesting. So like there's only one coin flip, And like, so it's like, okay, you can take the ball now and get it if there is an overtime period, or you can do the Belichick thing and defer on the opening kickoff, take it at halftime. But if there's overtime, you don't get the ball.
Oh shit.
Wouldn't that be fun?
That would be stressful.
Or not fun, but like just a little interesting.
It
like,
puts a little more strategy into
on the off chance that this game goes to overtime,
Right.
like you're going to want that ball first.
right. Oh,
So,
jeez
anyways.
Louise.
I don't know. You could do something there. I'm not into any of these like feats of strength to determine. Some people have been saying like do a 100-yard dash or something
No,
to
that's
figure out who
stupid.
gets the ball
That's
first, which
stupid.
would be insane.
Yeah, and I don't like the idea of it being a timed period either. Simply because if you do score first, like, and then you have to play a full 15 minutes, like that's not fair to your players that now have to play a whole extra quarter.
Right.
And like, you know, if you have to play a game again next week, that's
Right. That's why I'm cool with leaving it the way it is in the regular season. But in the playoffs, yeah, I would. I mean, it doesn't even have to be a time to. Yeah, I mean, obviously you have to put some sort of clock on it, but like, I wouldn't mind the idea of like both teams just should be able to possess the ball once. That's satisfactory for me. So if the Pats go down and score a touchdown, they have to kick off to the Chiefs. But if they stop them one time,
right.
you know, if they get them to go 4 and out, ball game. Like Pat, you can no longer say that Pat Mahomes never got to possess the ball because he did.
All right.
I don't know. Anyways, interesting thought. A lot of people have been pontificating
been
about that because
all over the place.
they're feeling upset that
The
fucking-
Patriots
the Patriots
won
won.
again. The problem is it's like not just people in Kansas City that are mad about it now. It's everybody because everybody hates the Patriots.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. So last question on that. Do you think the Patriots are good villains? Like, do you think they like it? Do you think they embrace it? Do you think they're, and I mean, when I say the Patriots, I obviously mean the principals, Brady, Belichick, Gronk, Edelman, that kind of thing.
I think they like it more now.
Yeah.
I think that they have found a way to embrace it.
It seems like they're embracing it more now than they have
I think
in the
when that
past.
whole Deflategate thing happened, Brady was really upset and he was very hurt about the way he was treated by the league and the way he was portrayed as this kind of like villainous character when he's been nothing but like a good character guy in the league, like done good PR, like been an upstanding citizen.
Yeah, goes to China and promotes American football and all this shit.
And I think that they walked into this year and said, fuck it. Everyone wants to hate us? Fine. Fucking hate us. We're here for it. And just kind of were like, great. We're the bad guys of the NFL. We're going to win. And, you know, kind of doing it now.
Yeah.
And I think the things like Brady saying like, they think that we suck. They think we can't win a game. Okay, let's see. And I was
Right.
like, well, nobody said that.
Nobody said that. Everybody doesn't think you suck, but they fucking hate your guts.
Yeah, but I'm
Like,
glad that you think that they said that. Go for it.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I think that they're just kind of like, fine. You all want to root against us? That's cool. We don't care.
Yeah. Yeah.
35
It's definitely, there's definitely an element of that this year more than there have been in previous years. I mean, to a certain extent, they don't have a choice
Right.
because they are just hated by everybody. You look at those like heat maps or whatever of like what states are voting for who. Not voting. What
Cheering.
states are rooting for who based on like Twitter polls or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's just the entire country is rooting
All
for
Rams.
whoever is playing the Pats. Like,
Yeah.
you know, so to a certain extent, they don't have a choice. But like, I think that Tom Brady personally, like, I think he's got a little like LeBron in him where like he can be the villain, but I think if he had his, I think he'd prefer to be liked than hated.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's most
Sure.
people. Like,
and I think he spent his
but
whole
he's not
career
like, well, I
trying
mean, he's
to.
like, he's not like Brad Marchand, right? Like he's not
Right,
like,
right.
he doesn't really relish in being despised,
Yeah.
you know, like that's not who he is. He uses it to his like competitive advantage, and he definitely has like a fuck you attitude, like on the field and off in terms of just his like competitive, like psychoness. But like, I don't think he like fully embraces the like everybody hates my face.
I don't think it's how he mapped his life out.
No, definitely not.
For sure. But I think, you know, they must have like just made the decision this year that like, let's not fight it. We might as well just go with it.
Oh, yeah.
Like, if that's the role that we're destined to play, then like, you know, they are kind of like, fuck everybody.
And it's actually a neat trick because it's like a little way to flip the like no one thinks we can win like underdog script, because like these are grown men who are, you know, intelligent individuals in that locker room who they know
they haven't been an underdog
that they're
in
not
10
underdogs
years.
in any given game.
Yeah.
But you can flip it again and say no one's rooting for us.
Yeah.
Everybody
Everybody hates us.
everybody wants you to lose. Everybody's rooting
Yeah.
against you. The
Let's
entire
ruin
country,
all of their
the entire
days.
league. Like, you know, Devontae Adams at the Pro Bowl goes out of his way to fucking tackle the mascot of the
Yeah.
New England
What a
Patriots
dick.
for no goddamn
Yeah.
reason. Like, that's your team. Everybody fucking hates you. Go tell them to fuck off. You know, like go shove it up their ass. Like that, I think, is like a great fucking motivator.
It's awesome.
Almost as strong as the underdog thing, which is entirely fabricated at this point.
And I feel like Patriots fans are on board for it too.
Totally.
Like, fine, you can.
Again, no choice.
Yeah.
Did
It's
you ever
like
walk around fucking, I don't know, anywhere in like Jersey or Philly
Oh,
or
God.
fucking Florida or literally
anywhere.
I went to
Anywhere.
Seattle a few months ago with a Patriots sweatshirt. I got fucking crucified. I was like, dude, you should have fucking ran the ball. I don't know what to tell you. But like,
Call Pete Carroll, not me.
Yeah,
I got nothing
it's
to
not
say
my
on that.
fucking
Yeah. I wasn't there. I didn't
anyways, yeah. All right, you got anything to clean up for until we sign off here?
win. No, I feel pretty clean.
All right, do you want to formalize your pick?
Yeah, I'm formally picking the Patriots to win the Super Bowl.
Okay, I'm also formally picking the Patriots to win the Super Bowl. Got any good bets going? You said you just had money on the
I
Pats.
just have
overall.
money on the Pats. It was a wedding gift. So basically it's free money if they win. I'm going to keep it at that. I don't want to ruin karma by voting against or betting against the Patriots in any sort of way.
Yeah. I don't have any money on the game yet, but I do plan on. There's a bet out there for will there be a missed point after?
Ugh.
I'm not going to say which kicker is going to do it, but I'm going to take that bet. I've been predicting that every week for the last 2 weeks since these games started to become important. I'm going to take yes, affirmative. There will be a missed point after.
Good.
So
I hope it's the Rams kicker, whoever he may be.
yeah, the guy who throws the fucking touchdown passes when they fake it.
Oh,
Watch out for that. Greg
Oh.
Zerl.
Whoa.
Maybe that's the punter. I don't know. Whatever.
whatever.
All right. Well, hey, Melissa, the next time that we talk, it will be post Super Bowl. We're either going to have our 6th ring here
Yeah. Or
or we're going to be
Depression.
fucking devastated.
yeah. Jubilation or devastation. Those are our two
Those are the only
modes
two roads.
next week.
Talk
We'll
about
see how next week goes.
divergent timelines. We're coming up on another fork in the road here.
Yep. Well, if you have any thoughts you want to share about it or any predictions you want to get in there before the game, you can always give us a call at 904-87-TT-POD. Leave us a message there.
You crushed that one, Melissa.
Thank you.
You could also hit us up on Twitter or Instagram at TitletownPod. We will talk to you next week. Go Pats.